So good morning dear cadets. So discussion is on. We were in the oxidation state. So study what I told you, that transition elements exhibit variable oxidation state. Variable oxidation state means exhibiting more than one oxidation state. So even though they are exhibiting more than one oxidation state, but out of them only one or two are most stable. Okay, just remember. So the first question is here, why do transition elements exhibit variable oxidation state? What is the reason? So the first reason is very obvious. The energy difference between ns orbital and n-1d orbital is very less. So not only ns orbital will take part in the bond formation or chemical reaction, n-1d subshell electron will also take part. So just see here, meaning of ns means if it is first transition series, so the 4s, and n-1d means if it is first transition series, then 3d. Now suppose second transition series is there, so here ns means 5s and here 4d. If third transition series is there, then 6s 5d. Correct or not? Like that. So ns and n-1d subcell, they have got very less energy difference. Because of that less energy difference, what is happening? Simultaneously they will take part in the bond formation. So just see, ns is having 2 electron, n-1d may have 1 electron to 10 electrons. So all electrons are taking part. That is why they are exhibiting more than one oxidation state, variable oxidation state. There is one more reason behind exhibition of variable oxidation state. Just try to understand. Since the energy difference between ns and n-1d subcell is less, if either you add 1 electron or remove 1 electron, what is there? There is a alteration. Alteration means change. Because of the addition or removal of electron from ns or n-1d electron, either you add or remove, there is a change in the energy of 3d and 4s in case of third transition series. So this is also contributing to exhibit variable oxidation state. Now try to understand. At beginning, when 4s is having 0 electron, at that time what is there? The energy of 3d is more than that of 4s. But the moment 4s will have 2 electron, so 4s energy will be more than that of 3d. Similarly, if you keep on adding the electron in 3d, then what would be there? Their energy will come down, okay, and energy of 4s will increase. So are you getting my point or not? So because of the addition or removal of electron from 3d and 4s, what would be there? There is a alteration. Alteration means change in the energy level. So that is why they exhibit more than one oxidation state. So because of these two reasons only, transition element exhibit variable oxidation state. Next point is stability of oxidation state depends. Now just try to understand. Now I have circled which one is the stable oxidation state. I have circled or not? So when I have circled, then what is the meaning of that one? Out of all oxidation state, that oxidation state is only stable. So how you will determine the stability of particular oxidation state? So stability of oxidation state depends upon the electronic configuration of that element after removal of that much electron. Try to understand. Scandium, what is the stable oxidation state for that one? +3. That is not exhibiting variable oxidation state, only one oxidation state, that is +3, that is exhibiting. See, if 3 electron is removed from scandium, so what is the electronic configuration of scandium? The electronic configuration of scandium is Sc3d1 4s2. Now remove all 3 electrons. So Sc3 positive, that is 3d will have 0 electron, 4s will have 0 electron. That is why after the removal of 3 electron, now scandium will have the stable state. So now the stability of +3 oxidation state of scandium depends upon the electronic configuration. Now electronic configuration you can see. So stability of a particular oxidation state depends upon the electronic configuration of that elements after the removal of those many electrons. If I wrote here Sc3 positive, it means from the scandium you have to remove 3 electron. Next one is the which element they combine to. Which element they combine to. So just see here, which element they combine to means which element they are reacting now. So stability of oxidation state depends upon that also, which element they are combining to. Okay. Next one is the ionization enthalpy. Ionization enthalpy of the element also matters a lot. Now these 3 points subsequently will be discussed when I will give you so many questions. So it doesn't mean that all 3 factors combinedly will work. Some places only one factor will work, okay. Other places 2 factor may work, okay. It doesn't mean that all 3 will work, but definitely they will work, okay. So this is there. Now some more points. Our discussion related with the oxidation state is on, but it is better to have some idea about the splitting of d orbital. What is the meaning of splitting of d orbital? Just see. Splitting of d orbital into two set. Just see. What are the name of d orbital? This is d orbital. What are the individual name? Individual name is dxy, dyz, dxz, dx square minus y square, dz square. These are the 5 d orbital. Now in certain conditions, what is that condition? Will teach you in the next unit, coordination chemistry. Actually when ligand approach, so generally before approaching of ligand, their energy is equal, all 5 set. But when ligand approach, so there is a difference in the energy of these 5 d orbitals, and they split into 2 set. What are these 2 set? T2G set. In T2G set, dxy, dyz, dxz, these 3 orbitals are there. And EG set, what is there? dx square minus y square and dz square. Okay, these 2 sets are there. Okay, T2G set and EG set. In EG set, dx square minus y square and dz square, and in T2G set, dx by dyz, dxz is there. This process is known as splitting of d orbital. Means splitting of d orbital into 2 set, T2G set and EG set. Such kind of splitting is there in octahedral field. Now what is the meaning of this one? Now next unit will teach. Right now that much is enough. Now the most important information. T2G set is stable when total electron either it has, see, T2G set is stable when total electron either it has 3 electron or 6 electron. Just see, 1 electron. If 3 electron is there, so it will be the half filled. If 6 electron is there, it is full filled. Now don't consider these d5 orbital. Their half filled state is 5 and fully filled state is 10 electron. Here what is there? Here 1, 2, 3. If 3 electron is there, they are half filled. If fully filled means 6 electrons should be there. Similarly here, what about this one? EG set is stable when it has either 2 electron or 4 electron. So half filled state for EG is 2 electron, fully filled is 4 electron. Okay, so this is splitting of d orbital. Remember, this will be applied for solving some questions. That is why I told you here. Okay, now the continuation of oxidation state. Note down some point. Higher oxidation state is exhibited only when both Ns and N-d subcell both electron are taking part. I hope that you are getting. Just see, chromium. This is chromium. What is this one? 3d5 and 4s1. Okay, so now how many oxidation state it is exhibiting? U plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 and plus 6. This is plus 6. For exhibiting plus 6 oxidation state, 3d electron should also be lost and 4s electron should also be lost. Then only it will exhibit the plus 6 oxidation state. So that only I am telling you. Higher oxidation state is exhibited only when both ns and n-1d subcell both electron take part. Okay. And lower oxidation state, they can, now just see here only, when it will exhibit plus 2 or plus 3, when only 4s electron is taking part. Okay, 4s electron. Let us say manganese. Manganese is 3d5 4s2. So it can exhibit oxidation state plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 6 and plus 7. The highest oxidation state is plus 7. It will exhibit the plus 7 oxidation state when 3d and 4s both electron will take part. But what about plus 2? Plus 2 it will exhibit when only 4s electron is taking part. So I hope that you are getting. So for higher oxidation state, n-1d subcell and ns cell both electrons should take part, and for lower oxidation state only ns cell electron should take part. Okay. Now try to understand. Some more points are there. Keep noting these points, and on the basis of these points you have to solve so many questions. So these are your concept. Okay. Now you can only see, if your concept is not clear, then you will by heart the question answer. Okay. And by hearting, now at the time of writing you will forget, you will write here and there answer and you will get half marks. Okay. So that much effort is not to get the out of 70 30 marks. Effort is on to get the 65 minimum marks. So variable oxidation state of first 5 element of first transition series is decided by ns and n-1d orbital electron. So what are the first 5 elements? Scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium and manganese. So their variable oxidation state is decided or determined on the basis of number of electron taking part from ns and n-1d orbital electron. Okay, and now in the previous example I have explained you. They can only exhibit the variable oxidation state when ns and n-1d orbital electron take part. Variable oxidation state of last 5 elements. What are the last 5? Just come back. Zinc, copper, then nickel, then cobalt, then what is there? Iron. The first 5 are till manganese and last 5 are iron, then cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. So the variable oxidation state of last 5 elements of the first transition series is decided by ns orbital electron only. Okay, and element to which they are combining. Okay. So their variable oxidation state depends upon only ns orbital electron, not n-1d, because after iron, after manganese, you might have seen that the pairing of d orbital starts. So those electrons will not take part in the bond formation. While in case of first 5, what is there? Unpaired electrons are present in the d orbital. In higher oxidation state, their compound is covalent. In higher oxidation state of a particular compound, they will be in the covalent state, and plus 2 and plus 3 means in lower oxidation state they will be ionic. Now Fajan rule will be valid. Just see. These two are the chromium compound, Cr2O7 and CrO3. Here the oxidation state of chromium is plus 6. These two are also the compound of chromium, CrCl2 and CrCl3. In CrCl2, chromium is plus 2 and CrCl3, chromium is plus 3. Here, this one, just see. Same element is exhibiting two types of oxidation state, plus 6 and plus 2 and plus 3. Now just see, plus 2 and plus 3 is lower oxidation state as compared to plus 6. So in plus 2 and plus 3 oxidation state they will be ionic, and here they will be covalent in plus 6 oxidation state. Now here I took the example of chromium. You can take the manganese example also. Mn2O3, MnO, Mn2O7. So in Mn2O7 the oxidation state of manganese is plus 7. So that would be covalent. Now in MnO plus 2 oxidation state, so that would be ionic. Okay, now there is one point here. Earlier only I told you the stability of a particular oxidation state determined on the basis of if it is in solid state, then it will be determined on the basis of sum of ionization enthalpies. Okay, first, second and third, if it is in solid state. Now stability of particular oxidation, one more thing is there, just see. Earlier I told you the stability of a oxidation state determined on the basis of electronic configuration, on the basis of ionization enthalpy, and on the basis of element which they are combining to. So it doesn't mean that those points are wrong. Here just see what is there. In some places electronic configuration would be valid, already I told that one. In some places what would be there? Ionization enthalpy, but that point is very important. So this is in case of solid state. The stability of a particular oxidation state in solid compound is determined on the basis of sum of ionization enthalpy, first, second and third. Here what is there? Stability of particular oxidation state in solution phase is judged on the basis of electrode potential. Just see, when I was teaching you oxidizing character of chlorine and fluorine, that time I told you that oxidizing character is judged on the basis of electrode potential. Okay, similarly for judging the stability of a particular oxidation state, electrode potential is applicable. Just see, if electrode potential is negative, the element would be, what would be the element? Reducing agent or oxidizing agent? Reducing agent. If electrode potential value is positive, then what they will be? That would be the oxidizing agent. See, we are here in transition elements and all are metal only. Okay, so just see, so their electrode potential will be negative. So here we are judging the oxidation state, not oxidizing agent and reducing agent character. Not oxidizing and reducing agent character. So oxidation state also will be judged on the basis of electrode potential, and you know electrode potential is depends on three types of energy. What are those energies? If it is metal, then sublimation enthalpy, then what is the next one? Ionization enthalpy and hydration enthalpy. Already I explained all those things. Correct or not? If it is non-metal, then what is there? Dissociation enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy and hydration enthalpy. Correct? Is there any problem? So here stability of a particular oxidation state in solution phase is judged. Solution phase means aqueous solution is judged on the basis of electrode potential. And electrode potential in turn depends on three types of energy, that is sublimation enthalpy, ionization enthalpy and hydration enthalpy. Okay, so just see, this point is very important because there are so many things we have to explain on the basis of this factor only. So now two things should be clear. The stability of a particular oxidation state in solid state is judged on the basis of three factors. Number one is ionization enthalpy, electronic configuration and the elements to which they are combining. That is in solid state. What about in solution phase? The stability of a particular oxidation state is determined on the basis of electrode potential. Now what should be the electrode potential? Electrode potential should be more negative, and in turn electrode potential depends upon three types of energy: sublimation, ionization and hydration. Okay, I hope that you have got this one. Now there are so many questions. Now questions are related with this one. First point, in solid state. So greater the negative value of electrode potential, greater will be the stability of a particular oxidation state in aqueous solution. That is the conclusion. What is there? Greater the negative value of electrode potential, greater will be the stability of a particular oxidation state in a particular oxidation state. Means for a particular oxidation state, this electrode potential, greater the negative value of electrode potential, and electrode potential is denoted by this sign, E 0 and cross it. Now when I was teaching you chlorine and fluorine oxidizing character, that time I told you delta H also. What is the delta H? Overall enthalpy change. And see here I wrote overall enthalpy change depends upon sublimation, ionization enthalpy and hydration enthalpy. Okay, so just see, same statement can be written like that also. Lesser the delta H value for a particular oxidation state, greater will be its stability in a aqueous solution. Okay, both things are same. You can determine this one in terms of electrode potential, and you can determine on the basis of overall enthalpy change. Delta H is the overall enthalpy change. Okay, now try to understand here. Delta H depends upon sublimation and ionization enthalpy and sum of hydration enthalpy. Sublimation is the amount of energy needed to convert the solid substance directly into gaseous state without undergoing liquid state. Ionization enthalpy, you know, amount of energy required. That is why I wrote here positive sign, because these two are energy which are needed, means they required. And hydration enthalpy is the amount of energy released, and hydration enthalpy value depends upon ionic size. Smaller the size of ion, greater will be the hydration enthalpy. Okay, so their sum is equal to electrode potential, means electrode potential depends upon this one. There is one more point, just see, delta H is a quantitative value. Quantitative value, okay, means if you have got the value of sublimation, ionization enthalpy and hydration enthalpy, delta H overall you can calculate, but never just see in the book what is there. I have seen in NCERT book, they have made the column. What are those columns? They have given the sublimation enthalpy value, then ionization enthalpy first, second, third value, then hydration enthalpy, and at the end they have given the electrode potential value. So just remember, don't think that you will sum sublimation, you will sum the sublimation enthalpy, ionization enthalpy and hydration enthalpy, then you will get this one, electrode potential. Not at all. Remember, after the addition and subtraction of this one, sublimation, ionization and hydration, you will get the overall enthalpy change, delta H value. And on this value only electrode potential depends. And electrode potential for the metal is negative. Always remember, electrode potential for the metal is negative and electrode potential for the non-metal is positive. Just see, if it is non-metal, then here you will write dissociation enthalpy. Here you will write electron gain enthalpy. That we have already discussed. But this is the metal, that is why this is the formula. So once again, just remember, if you sum sublimation, ionization enthalpy and hydration, you will get the delta H overall value. So delta H value is a quantitative value, but by summing sublimation and ionization enthalpy and hydration enthalpy, you will not get the value of electrode potential. So what we can say, this is a qualitative value. Electrode potential is qualitative value, and hydration enthalpy means this delta H overall enthalpy change, overall enthalpy change in Born-Haber cycle we have made or not. So delta H overall, that is overall enthalpy change, that is quantitative value. But remember, this qualitative value of electrode potential depends upon this value. Okay, have you got this one? Okay, so just clarify this one. Now there are some question here. Electrode potential of copper positive. Copper is positive plus 0.34 volt, because just see, if you see the electrode potential value of first transition series, all will have negative electrode potential only. Only copper is the only element which have got the positive electrode potential in first transition series. What is the reason? Very obvious reason. Just see here. Copper electrode potential is positive. Why it is positive? Simple thing. Just see. These two, sum of sublimation and hydration enthalpy, sum of sublimation and ionization enthalpy value is greater than hydration enthalpy. That is why. Are you getting my point or not? The hydration enthalpy value is the negative value. What is the meaning of negative? Amount of energy released. So the amount of energy released is not compensating the amount of energy needed, that is the sublimation and ionization enthalpy. So here I wrote electrode potential of copper is positive because hydration enthalpy cannot compensate high value of sum of sublimation and ionization enthalpy. Now you may raise the question, why the sublimation and ionization enthalpy of copper is high? Just see, in copper, if you see the electronic configuration, D is completely filled, D10 is there. So now that if you want to remove the electron, then you have to remove electron from D10, that is fully filled stable state. That is why its ionization enthalpy will be very high. And the moment ionization enthalpy and sublimation enthalpy is high, then hydration enthalpy value will be less. Okay, why it will be less? Because it is negative and it is positive. Always remember, to be electrode potential negative, what should be there? Hydration enthalpy value must exceed the value of sum of sublimation enthalpy and ionization enthalpy. Always remember, those who have got the negative electrode potential, it means their hydration enthalpy is more. Always remember this one. Okay, there is one more question. Electrode potential value of zinc is less negative. Now there is one more thing. Now just now I told that if you sum this one, you will not get this one electrode potential, but I have explained on the basis of this one only. Always remember that, remember one point, this is qualitative value, this is quantitative value. So this summation and subtraction, you will get this value, delta H value. Always remember, and delta H is related with this one. Okay, so this is quantitative, this is qualitative. Okay, but we have to explain on the basis of this one only. Now why their electrode potential is positive, why their electrode potential is negative, on the basis of these three energies only. Now here question is, electrode potential of zinc is less negative. Now if any value is less negative, so what is the meaning of this one? Definitely their sublimation and ionization enthalpy is more. Okay, and why ionization enthalpy will be more? Sublimation enthalpy will be more because their crystal lattice is strong, that is why their sublimation enthalpy is more. Ionization enthalpy will be more if their electronic configuration is stable. So just see, zinc has got less negative. When this electrode potential value will come less negative? When ionization and sublimation enthalpy value is more than that of hydration enthalpy. So just see, electrode potential value of zinc is less negative because of completely filled orbital, 3D orbital. Here write 3D orbital. 3D is having 10 electron or not? Its ionization enthalpy is very high. In zinc case, what is there? 3D10 is there or not? So if their electronic configuration is highly stable, then you have to give more ionization enthalpy to remove the electron. If their ionization enthalpy is more, then what would be there? The positive will exceed the hydration enthalpy value, and overall electrode potential will come either less negative or positive. What is the meaning of less negative? Near to the positive. More negative means away from positive. Correct or not? So these are the reasons for less negative electrode potential value of zinc. Okay. So dear cadets, there is one more type of compound. They are known as carbonyl compounds. So in carbonyl compound, the oxidation state of transition metal is 0. What are the carbonyl compound? Carbonyl compounds are those compound where carbon monoxide. Just remember, this is cobalt, but this is carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is present as ligand. We'll tell you in the next unit what is the meaning of ligand. But right now, just you can understand, if carbon monoxide is present along with the transition elements, transition metal, so they will be called as carbonyl compound. Like just see, tetracarbonyl nickel, 0 oxidation state. Pentacarbonyl iron, zero oxidation state. Many are there. CrCO6. What is this one? Hexacarbonyl chromium. Hexacarbonyl chromium. Hexacarbonyl chromium. Zero oxidation state. So just you remember this one. These are transition metal only. Nickel, iron, chromium. So there is one category of compound where the oxidation state of transition elements are zero. That is known as carbonyl compound. What are the carbonyl compound? When carbon monoxide, what is this one? What is CO? Carbon monoxide is present as a ligand. Ligand word will define in the next unit. Right now you understand in this way. If carbon monoxide is present in any compound with or alongside of transition metal, they are carbonyl compound. Okay, and transition state means oxidation state will be zero. Okay, in this way the duration of today's video is over. Now tomorrow will complete so many important things. So just gear up for accepting so many variations. Okay, now today also so many conceptual thing I taught, isn't it? Just try hard to cover that one, especially that electrode potential. Okay, and stability of a particular oxidation state. Just remember, stability of oxidation state can be explained on the basis of two things. The one is on the basis of sum of electrode potential, sum of ionization enthalpy, and another one is the in aqueous solution it can be explained on the basis of electrode potential. Okay, so in the solid state three things are contributing, that is the electrode potential, element to which they are combining, and electronic configuration. But in aqueous solution they are depending upon three types of energies: sublimation, ionization enthalpy, and hydration enthalpy. That is the important thing. Tomorrow we'll begin with so many questions. Okay, thank you.